required by law, the town may audio or video record this meeting. Any person intending to either audio or video record this open session is required to inform the chair.
This is mine.
Call to order. Public comment.
So, under new business, we were just gonna make a request if we could have item C go first.
Item C.
Mr. Warshaw has been traveling and he just wants to get something to eat and get nourished. So if we wouldn't mind just accommodating that discussion first, but that would be, so when you call that piece to business, spare you from public comment. You're welcome.
Okay, so preliminary determination of required nitrogen credit land for 8 Lakeway Lane.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, come on up. We can go back to the minutes from the last meeting later. So we'll just jump to new business.
Thank you for seeing me before the board again. I last saw you, I think, August meeting, and I put the door in for the second bedroom, and glad to have my second bedroom now. And I mentioned before I left that it wasn't the last you'd hear from me, so here I am. I assume you all have the copies of the letter, so if there's any questions, happy to start out there.
Is there any way we can get his microphone any louder?
Yeah, you want to just pull it closer?
Better?
Better.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Okay. So do you have anything you want to?
Beyond what I shared in the letter, I think the request that I'm making is a fairly minor modification, especially given that I'm on the new incoming sewer route. And I think underlying a lot of this is the frustration, as a younger person, as a homeowner trying to start a family here, to see the state roll out a red carpet on 40B projects and kind of bulldoze through rules and regulations, but to see a person trying to start their life here who can have a meaningful change have to jump through a lot of hoops to put in a door and do something that a lot of people already do out of compliance. And I don't like to be out of compliance. I think the way that Title V was implemented, I don't think it was an intended consequence to make it really nearly impossible for younger people to get land to build here, to build their lives here. But 30 years ago, you could build 3 bedrooms on a quarter of an acre. You now need 3 times that to have a simple small cape, and we wonder why all we see popping up are $1 million, 4,000 square foot mansions. Because you can't build something small on a normal lot, and it excludes properties like mine and treats them differently than every other property in the neighborhood that's already built up as a residential area based on when it was built, and it doesn't feel right. I'm not someone who can pay 50 grand to someone trying to sell a quarter of an acre for the privilege of putting a door in an opening that exists, as some people have suggested. That's what someone's trying to sell a quarter an acre for, to get better, nitrogen credit. It's tough. I mean, ideally, I'd like you to say, this is moot, I don't need nitrogen credit, I don't need to get on my knees to the Conservation Trust to get an easement on 10 or 20,000 square feet of land. I think the right thing to do is just to say you can put a door up, and we understand that you're taking the steps to make your property as nitrogen friendly as possible. At no small expense and to my budget and my muscles, I did a lot of landscaping this summer. I removed turf grass from all sloped areas of my property to minimize what needs to get watered and fertilized to help produce runoff. I've taken a lot of steps to really try and make this a property that I can have as a home, that's respectful of the area that I care about, and that treats a homeowner with the same respect that a deep-pocketed developer gets. And that's what I have to add. Thank you very much.
Comments?
fully appreciate your sentiment.
So I just want to remind the board that Mr. Warshaw was here in August seeking a variance for the flow that is required on the acre or the lot size that he has. So he has 10,000 square foot lot, and it would be required that he has 30,000 square feet for 3 bedrooms, and the board granted him 2 bedrooms on the 10,000 square foot lot. We also have to consider the impacts that some of these approvals will have when you're looking at our CWMP and the nitrogen that these properties, yes, they're going to be connected to sewer, but that still goes somewhere into somebody's backyard. So we do have to pay for that and consider that when we're looking at our CWMP and our intermunicipal agreement with Chatham and what we can accept. I think it was very courteous of the board to consider the 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom. There is a control mechanism in that scenario where the board could opt to just limit it from 1-bedrooms to 2-bedrooms and just allow those scenarios. This is a little harder to control because you're granting a reduction in credit land that the state requires. So you're going 2 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. Where do you go 3 bedrooms to 4? You know, like, it's a little harder, I think, to control that argument and allow the relief here if you can't allow it everywhere. So that's just my thoughts on Mr. Warshaw's proposal.
Thank you, Carrie. I think in the one comment I have in response to that, as far as where do you draw the line, is I think it's, you know, as many problems as I have with Title V, I think it has some language in there that's a pretty clear place to draw the line, where it defines a standard single-family dwelling as 3 bedrooms. That is the expectation.
You're going back into a time that was defining what a single home was. You can't go back there and say, well, this is what it was like then, so we're going to go back to horse and drawn buggy.
No, this is in
No.
Title V today. That in the chart of bedroom counts in gallons per day, it says that it presumes that a single-family dwelling is a 3 bedrooms unless it's restricted to a 2, which as of now, I am.
You were actually restricted to 1,
Right,
all right, and we granted 2.
yes.
Now you're back and you're saying 3. My feeling is, if you want 3, then you've got to come up with the 20,000 square foot of credit land. If we start going, and you've done some marvelous things, I'm not discrediting that, but I'm saying we're sitting here as a board, having to make a decision for you, but what we make for you is going to have a downward effect downstream with everybody else that's going, well, you did it for him. We did give you the extra bedroom. If you want 3, my feeling is you've got to come up with the 20,000 square foot credit land. And that's my opinion. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I understand what you're saying, but there's going to be a lot there. You're not the only person in this predicament, all right?
Correct.
So
And that's,
there's a likelihood that there are going to have a lot of people coming before us asking for the same thing. Where do we draw that line? Now, we've granted the extra one, you want the 3rd, and we're saying for the 3rd, you should have the 20 square feet credit land. That's my opinion on this one. I don't know, the rest of the board can speak.
Matt, you bring up a great point regarding, you know, the setting of the precedent that other people can come and bring, and I think that's part of why I would hope it's appreciated that I'm trying to approach this in a constructive way, that the precedent that gets set is something that's not an unreasonable thing to replicate should another homeowner in my situation come to you asking for the same thing.
But if you have a whole lot of those doing it, then guess what? It is going to have an effect.
But the scale of this is there are less than 55 of these 1-bedroom homes in Harwich, and now it's less than 54. And the amount of 2 bedrooms is also a pretty nominal number. It's not been the standard here, and it's the exception. It's not the rule. So we're solving here. I'm not asking for 4 bedrooms. I'm not asking to, you know, do something that's, you know, egregious to the neighborhood. It's trying to remedy something that I think was an unintentional consequence of Title V. I don't think that was the DEP's goal, was to make it nearly impossible to have a, you know, a home that can accommodate a family.
DEP's goal was to protect, to protect the environment.
The
and
environment.
nitrogen.
Of course.
And
That-
we're in a
yes.
situation now where most of the Cape is considered nitrogen-sensitive designations because we didn't have any control mechanisms in the past. And so that's,
Yeah.
I mean, these controls are in place for a reason, and there is a mechanism through Title V that allows 10,000 square foot lots to be 3 bedrooms, but it requires credit land off-site somewhere else.
Within that zone of contribution.
Right, I mean, that is, again, the second big aspect of the struggle. As you can see from the map, the zone of contribution is pretty small. There's not a lot of unbuilt land in there that's not Hawks Nest Preservation Area.
That isn't something we have a control over.
Correct. I know you can't
You
create
don't
new
either?
land in
Right.
the ZOC,
And we
like, I
can't either.
understand that, but,
So we have to go by our rules and regulations.
or you can set new rules.
No, we cannot set new rules. The rules state what you are required if you want that other bedroom is 20,000 square feet of credit land. That's what it's saying.
Would you be willing to compromise and settle at 10,000 and treat the property, since it currently has 2 approved bedrooms on 10,000 square feet, and start the calculation for the extra credit land required at the 2-bedroom number instead of the 3? Because if we treat, since I already have 2 bedrooms, if we say the amount of credit land required to add an extra bedroom is 10,000 square feet per bedroom, I have 2 bedrooms that are existing, so I'm saying, can we start the line where we say, to add, how much land do I need? Say that I need total of 20,000, not 20,000 additional, to start from the 2-bedroom level, if that makes
You
sense.
already have the 2 bedrooms.
Correct. So that's where I'm saying, can we use that as the starting point instead of saying this is, treating it as if it was an undeveloped lot with nothing on it, where you would say, I need 20,000 square feet of credit land to build a new construction on a vacant lot. Since I already have 2 bedrooms with 10,000 square feet, I'm saying, can we do that 3rd bedroom for an additional 10,000 square feet instead of an additional 20,000 square feet? Treating me as if I was already 20,000 square feet, like the 2 bedrooms that I am approved for.
So that's the request. It's taking a 10,000 square foot parcel and asking for 10,000 square foot of credit land, where 30,000 would actually be 30,000 total lot coverage, including his current parcel, would be required. So that's where I think it starts to get a little bit, so now you have every 2-bedroom, every 3-bedroom on a 10,000, 15,000,
Yeah.
20,000 square foot lot looking for more.
Yeah.
Look, well, you did it for him. Well, we did it for him because he was the 2-bedroom to the 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
So, and then 3-bed, I think it's, I understand where Mr. Warshaw is coming from, but I think it opens
Pandora's
another
Yeah.
box
Another
that
big
we,
box.
we don't want to open,
Yeah.
especially since that 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom conversion has already happened.
Yeah, I'm still under the mindset that it needs the 20,000 for me to vote. I don't know where. Kevin, do you? Does he have any comment?
Yeah, I am in agreement on this one. I mean, I think we already made the allowance for the 2 bedrooms. And I think we came to a good compromise in August when we agreed upon that. And now you're here, pushing for a 3rd. And as we talk about the precedence that's gonna be set, like, this is what, I mean, we just can't have people go, oh, I'm gonna get a little bit more, I'm gonna get a little bit more. We compromised already. We agreed upon 2 bedrooms. My inclination is, without the additional 20,000 credit land, we're gonna keep it there.
Yeah, that would be.
Either one is fine. For one, not for all. I mean, that's fine.
Say again?
For one, not for all. I mean, we can't
Yeah.
just make exceptions. We have to look at it as a community.
I
mean, I think that was,
under the circumstances, I think we already gave you a lot in August. And I think we can't start another precedent, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? And maybe when the sewerage comes in, it may be different.
And it may be different when the town starts to talk about how the flow that's actually going into the system is gonna impact it. There is a mechanism in the sewer use regulations that allows for a variance from what will be granted when you connect. So, my understanding, the conversations that are being had right now, until we're at 100% build-out with what we have, that board may not entertain any variances right away, but it's still something that's out there once everybody is connected to sewer, so we can see where we're actually at. So it's not, and this isn't a formal variance filing, so if circumstances change or if anything, you have the potential to come back and formally file, but, I mean, it sounds like the board is, and there's no decision, like no formal vote that needs to be made, because it was just a discussion to see if the board
Oh,
would
all
entertain.
right, so we don't have to vote on
You
this?
don't
No.
have to vote on it.
All right.
I needed to just see how much I have to ask the Conservation Trust for of land, and there's a limited amount of land they have in the ZOC, and, you know, for the other homeowners who may be looking to do the same thing, if they go the credit route, I want to make sure there's enough available for people to go the same.
And I
compliant route.
feel bad, and I think you've done a great job, but we kind of have to look at maybe a bigger picture than just one individual, and how that can affect things downstream, and what we're going to run into later. So,
Yeah. I mean, I feel as though I am trying to look at it a bit bigger than myself, and then I feel I would ask the board look. I mean, I'm curious to understand what like, without knowing that there's not a huge scale of properties this would actually be, the impact seems quite small, but I appreciate the determination.
And that might be the conversation that you bring to the wastewater commission when they're entertaining variances
yeah,
and you're
Yeah.
connected to sewer.
yeah. And that's where I think it'll probably end up going. Yeah. That's going to have to be their decision.
And there's a lot of internal talks amongst the different departments that play a role in sewer to see how we want to handle this. So it might be something that's just premature for us to
Yeah.
entertain at this time.
Okay.
That is being looked at. It will be looked at, I'll put it that way.
Glad to hear that. My only other request would be that keep in mind the ability of, this is a small town with real humans on committees, and we're not that far apart from each other in various offices and boards, and I just encourage and request that you keep housing in mind when you think about working with other departments in the town, you know, whether it's conservation or otherwise.
I think it has, there's more than one committee that this impacts.
Right, I mean, that's sort of where I'm trying to come from this, is it's no one single committee's fault that we're in the situation that we're in, and, you know, it's not the committee's fault at all that we can't build a 3-bedroom on a quarter acre like we used to, but
We have put in some requests to meet with the different committees that this will have an impact on, and at some point that hopefully the committees will get together and come up with
Process for,
how we're going to address this.
yeah, I would,
So, it's not a dead issue for you, totally.
oh, no, don't worry, I'm
I
just,
don't think it is.
no is energetic, so, like last time, probably not the last you'll see of me.
That's okay, that's okay.
Happy holidays, thank you.
You too, thank you. All right. So now,
We're going to go back to minutes of the
Minutes.
previous meeting.
Or you can wait till later and just keep on with new business.
Okay, new business.
oh, all right, we're going to do that later.
Okay. Variance request from Title 5310 CMR 15.211 and 15.223, 176 South Street, requesting relief from minimum setback distance requirement in use of single compartment tank for proposed accessory dwelling unit.
introduce yourself, and if you have anything to add, or you want to start off with what you're
Yeah,
looking for?
absolutely. First of all, hello, members of the board. Thank you all for coming out tonight and allowing me to speak. My name is Rory Nickerson. I grew up in Chatham. I primarily work as a carpenter and a property manager. My wife apologizes. She couldn't be here this evening. Her maiden name is Kate Robbins. She grew up here in Harwich. She really tried to be here tonight, but she's a nurse. She has a 12-hour shift, and she couldn't get it covered. She sends her apologies. In July of 2024, actually while my wife was pregnant with our son, who's now 14 months old, we bought 176 South Street in Harwichport. We thought most people would have passed on the property because of its age. It was built in 1941, and we thought that maybe my background could, help renovate it back to, bring it back to life a little bit. However, what initially intrigued us about the property was the pre-existing structure where the current garage is located. And like I said, while having my background, I did most of the renovations on the house, and I thought that we might be able to make the next step and create a new garage and an ADU. So we bought the property with the idea of building an ADU in place of the current structure of the garage and doing a new one. We also thought that it would help us financially, but also be able to help someone else in the community that was in need of affordable housing, because my wife and I have seen it a lot. We worked in restaurants, and she has, being a nurse, works with a lot of travel nurses who can't even travel to the Cape to even have a place to stay. So we thought that might be a great idea. So Kate and I grew up here and would love to continue to raise our growing family here. And actually, she's currently 25 weeks pregnant with our second child.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. So when we bought the property, we had the hope of building an ADU. So we installed a brand new septic costing us around $25,000, meeting all codes required for an ADU at the time. And as I'm sure most of you know, on August 26, 2024, Governor Healy signed into law the Affordable Homes Act, which would allow the construction of accessory dwelling units by right in single-family residential zoning districts. This took effect on February 2nd, 2025. So my wife, Kate, and I purchased our property at 176 South Street on July 11th, 2024. The property needed to have a cesspool removed and have an updated septic system installed in order to purchase it. We upgraded from a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom to a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit for future use and plans for an ADU. This system was installed in August 2024, which is obviously before any of the new regulations were put into place for the new septic and the ADU. So that is why we are requesting those two variances of which you spoke about earlier.
So when you say the new regulations for the ADU, what regulations are you referring to?
So they require a septic tank to either have a dual compartment tank or 2 separate tanks in succession.
So that's been part of Title V, that's not new. So-
Okay, I was led to believe that was a new act passed by Governor Healy that took place in February.
Nope, so the requirement for the 2-compartment tank or 2 tanks in series is always been in Title V with the 95 code. What is new is a guidance that came out from DEP regarding ADUs and what can be approved.
Oh, okay.
So
I
the
think
lack of a 2-compartment
compartment
tank can only be approved through a variance. And you have to demonstrate equal environmental protection. So what I did, I provided the board with the guidance document from the state that outlines that, as well as a technical bulletin for the use of 2-compartment tanks. And essentially what this bulletin states is that the retention time for a tank is more important than the use of the 2-compartment tank. or 2 tanks in series. It's an older technical bulletin, so it talks about Ts and, which the Ts that they mention in this are actually part of the new requirements for Title V.
Yeah, I saw that at the end of
So
the considerations.
to get the minimum retention, which they think would achieve the same, you have to have at least a minimum of 96 hours of detention time to 192 hours. A 3-bedroom dwelling would get retention time of, I think it's just over 13,000 gallons, would be required to have a 96-hour retention period. So for the minimum, the 1,500-gallon tank does meet this. This also talks about having multiple inlets into the tank, creating mixing, which I don't know if your proposal is to just run into the existing tie-in line or to tie in new, but the 2 Ts,
You
inlet
could do
Ts may.
either based on proximity, based on how close they are to
Right.
to each other. It wouldn't really be that much of a difference for us, but.
So this is another kind of precedent-setting. If this is a variance that the board is willing to entertain, and approve that portion of the variance request that's being proposed, I would like to provide something to the board that sets conditions that meet, and see if the board would approve just a blanket, so people don't have to come in front every time.
I agree, because I was thinking the
But
same thing, just
It's,
based on.
yeah.
It would give us some guidelines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of which to approve or not approve.
Right,
Kind of like a
right.
guidance document we could use internally. I think it's gonna be limited scenarios, just based on that retention time, because you're kind of maxing out at 3 bedrooms with the size of a 1,500-gallon tank. Most tanks are 1,000 gallons or 1,500 gallons if it's an older tank, so anybody that is going beyond 3 bedrooms is gonna be looking to upgrade their tank, and we're gonna request that they do a
Yeah, and also
2-compartment tank.
Up to inspections and everything. It could be an older system too that would, it would be the same size as mine, but it could be 20 years into its lifespan and knowing that, but hopefully the sewer system coming would be
Yeah.
So
a way around that, but.
that would be a variance that I think that you could discuss to see if you want to entertain, and then to set the criteria at our next meeting date to say, this is the control mechanism for allowance or disallowance. The other variance, I think, is the one that you
Can you
want to discuss
explain
further.
why you want to move that? What's going to be the garage, what you're going to build? Why do you want to move it?
Again, it was built in 1941, and it pretty much just sits on earth and.
But why can't it stay where it is? You want to move it, you're asking for variances to move it closer.
Yeah, just a little bit forward in my driveway, because it's a slightly bigger structure. So the current structure is, it's like a 20 by 15, so I'm proposing a 20 by 24, so I can have the ADU above it.
So that the new, oh wait, I missed that. So the new structure, which is going to be above the garage, is
Yep.
that correct?
Yep.
But you're saying it's going to be, that
It's bigger footprint than the existing structure itself.
all right, and that's going to put you,
Yeah, if you're looking on the plan, it just
Yeah, these
pushes
are-
down yeah, I know. We tried to make it as big as possible, actually, but it just pushes it a little bit further down my own driveway. And when we put in the new septic, we actually planned for something like this in the future, so we pushed the septic, the leach fields, like another 15 feet towards South Street, so we could potentially have a slightly larger structure there in the future. Or that was at least what we were trying to accomplish.
And the same consideration wasn't taken for the tank at the time to meet the 10-foot setback?
Well, we thought we were. I know we had the 3-foot difference there at the end of the day, and I guess that would be put on me. I thought we were pushed back far enough, but obviously our engineer and everybody approved it, and so I
can
thought
you leave this where it is?
it would actually be taking up the same footprint of the current structure that's there, but it would just be a slightly larger one in the same space, but towards my driveway. So
Yeah, if you want to talk, we just ask that you go up to the, and introduce yourself from there. Speak from the microphone. Yep, thank you.
My name's Matthew Coutu, 182 South Street. I'm the abutter. And I just heard you mention there that, what's the distance of the tank from my property line? Because there was a few of the Massachusetts state laws were broken, the laws for the Title V. I had a part of the septic system basically on my property line when this was initially put in.
So the tank meets the setbacks to the property line.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
What was the 3 feet you had just mentioned?
I have the,
It's to his,
Okay.
it's to his structure.
Okay.
the setback,
I don't-
setback will be fine to your
Listen,
property.
I don't oppose putting a septic system in and building, I just don't want it to devalue my property.
Yeah.
And I
Understandable.
appreciated what you said to that gentleman before this meeting. And and you have to understand my perspective, and I don't want a septic system 3 feet from my property line.
Yeah.
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 And I don't want to, nitpick, but it's like we're sort of piecing together a septic system for his use,
Yeah.
when he should have figured this out and had proper engineering to put a proper septic system in. He has a big lot, and there shouldn't even be a variance requirement for a septic system. And my attorney, did you receive my attorney's letters?
So, and they all got copies of it.
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
But if there's any other questions, I'd certainly.
yes, I did see that, yes.
Can I speak on behalf of that?
Sure.
Before even meeting Mr. Kotu, he brought it aware to the generational excavation company that was doing the work, and he had a issue with the vent pipe of where it was located. He came down to the town twice and brought it to your attention, and then my excavation company then assured me that it was in compliance where it stood. But I told my excavation company to move the vent pipe 10 feet the next day, and I did it out of my own pocket because the vent pipe was already there. I did it not because I had to, but I was trying to be a good neighbor, and I wanted to comply with everything moving forward.
It's tough, we're going from all septic systems to a sewering system. Things are changing, and times change. And we have to be able to adapt to that without causing hardships to everybody else. So it can't be just one person we're looking at. Just like I said before, it's going to affect a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to be in similar situations. And it's unfortunate, but the time moves on and things change. And we have to be able to adapt to that. If we make rules and regulations, we kind of have to stick to that. Now, all right, maybe sometimes you can wiggle it a little bit, but if you start doing it all the time, then why even have them? You might as well say forget about them and just give everybody what they want, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, I understand. And that's why the setback off of Mr. Kotu's property
Yeah.
is actually in compliance, and I have 2 certificates saying so, not only from the engineer, but from the town of Harwich.
So what is your feeling on this having a bigger footprint?
So, I mean, my thought is, and especially after hearing Mr. Nixon, if the soil absorption system was factored in to meet the setbacks to accommodate the potential project, the septic tank should have been as well. I view it as a self-created hardship, but it's up to the board on whether they agree with that or not.
Was the initial, I'm sorry, was the...
Just repeat your name again.
Matt Coutu, 182 South Street. Was the initial septic system designed to be put under a driveway? Was the aggregate and the aggregate used in the sand that was used for that particular septic system, was that approved in the plan?
So I don't have the approved plan in front of me, I only have what was provided,
Right,
and it doesn't have
right.
the schematic with the
There's
component details, but
particular
it is,
designs that you have to have when
it
you
is,
put,
yes,
when
it
you
is
have a...
something that we look at when we review plans. If
Right.
there's a driveway
Right.
covering, we will make sure
Right.
that they're H20
Now, this-
components.
I have
I
a piece
just-
of paperwork if anybody needs to see it.
I can't, I'm just trying to put this in perspective. He has a big lot. Why would he just try to squeeze it over onto, and get a variance? You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's,
Yeah, that's the discussion
so,
that's,
right,
so the tank could have been put in a different location if the plans were.
right.
And that 10-foot setback is something that your engineer should have been aware of. I mean, he was clearly aware of the 20-foot setback to the SAS, so.
I was there before he put the system in, and he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. I own it,
I had never met you.
I went over there and explained it to you.
Okay.
I've been in the engineering business for my whole life. I'm 60 years old. I'm a president of Omark Consultants in Massachusetts. I do major contracts with National Grid, Eversource. And I brought it to everybody's attention here before that septic system was put in. And I have it on record.
So right now, the system as it sits with the setbacks is in compliance.
Okay.
So it's what's being asked now.
That's why I'm here, just to,
To either get the variance
yeah,
approval by
just to apply for the
the
variance.
board.
So, if you didn't make it, that footprint bigger, you kept it to where it is, above the garage,
Right, that would mainly be for the ADU, just, you know, being a little bit larger, I guess you could say, but that being said, if I were to bring it down to a 20 by 20 structure, that would create, I wouldn't need that 3-foot variance request, you know, so that's why I was trying to get a 24 by 20. If I can't, would the board be willing to accept a 20 by 20 structure? Which
is,
would allow me to, you know, create that extra 4 feet, so I wouldn't need that 3-foot variance from the septic?
Well, if you can modify the plan so you don't need that variance from the
Yeah.
setback, that's a given.
Okay,
yeah,
That's,
all right, so I wouldn't need that, but
You would
obviously, I would still need the variance for the one compartment.
I don't see a problem with that, because that's a fairly new tank.
Yeah, it's less than a year old.
Yeah. With the understanding that if something happens, then you're gonna be responsible for upgrading that.
Correct, yes,
All right,
just as any homeowner would, really, you know, so.
yeah. All right, now must he come back then with that
no,
change?
you can make a motion, or somebody can make a motion to approve the one variance and deny the setback variance, because that variance request that he's asking for with the
Yeah.
tank is not gonna change.
I wouldn't even need to, yeah.
And then he won't need to come back because we'll be able to approve the setback variance.
All right.
And then we'll bring a guidance document to the board regarding the septic tanks for your overall approval.
Yeah,
next
all
month.
right. Wow, I'm gonna make an attempt at this. Is there any more discussion?
No, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, very clear.
Kevin?
You what, would you like me to run it by?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The board would like to move to accept or allow the use of the 1,500-gallon single compartment tank, where multi-compartment tank or 2 tanks in series is required, with the understanding, Carrie, you're gonna bring something back to us next month that we can set some guidelines so that the health department can handle those situations in the future, as well as deny the 3-foot variance for the existing septic tank to the new foundation.
So that's
When
a
we-
motion, Ron, you have to do a roll
Verbal
call.
roll
So we gotta get a second and then a roll call for
I
everybody.
second it.
So now you gotta call out Kevin, Janet, Sharon.
Hey, Kevin,
How do you vote?
Evan,
Uh,
in favor of
aye.
the motion? Yep.
Aye.
I know, you need to say the name.
You gotta say Janet,
Janet,
Sharon.
Sharon,
Aye.
Ron, aye.
See, we have to do that, because
I'll
he's...
throw one in there too, aye.
All right.
Okay. All right.
So that's the motion, that's what'll be approved, and we'll bring back a guidance for how you want to proceed with, if we have the request for tanks in the future,
Yeah,
based on the guidance document from the state.
yeah.
All right, and you don't require a future plan from the
Yeah, and then
Okay.
when you'll modify your building permit,
building permit?
and
All right,
we'll go from there.
appreciate it, Board, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Okay, now, item B.
Item B. Variation request from Title 5310 CMR 15.211, 15.2275, 15.229 in Town of Harwich Regulations 1.201 and 1.210, 47 and 52 North Road, requesting relief from inland setback distance requirements, placement, construction of T's, pumping to septic tanks, and sharing of sewage systems.
Good evening, Winston Stedman from All Cape Environmental. Kevin, thank you for seeing me tonight. I'm representing the owners. They're new owners to this property. There was a variance that was already approved. It's included in the package. All we're doing is changing the SAS from a mounded system. We have an enormous foundation to it, to a drip irrigation or a drip dispersal system. The drip dispersal will allow us to not have to build this big structure on the property. I included some information about the drip that was done out at the test center. DEP is reviewing it. They haven't come up with anything yet, but they are getting treatment within the first 2 feet. They put Leicester's below it, and they're getting nitrogen reduction within the first 2 feet and fecal coliform reduction. I included that for your review. There is a proposed IA system to go along with this. I'll go through each one of the variances if you would like.
I would appreciate that.
No, not a problem.
I thought
Okay.
this was a little complicated.
We'll start with the Title V variances. The first one is the SAS, 6 feet from the front and side lot line. We're requesting a 4-foot variance from the 10-foot. The original variance was, hold on, I'll get to that. The original variance that was approved was 4 feet and 3.5 feet. We did 6 feet so we could just kind of square it off so that when they do the final grading, that the whole property will look much better. I think his neighbor will be a little bit happier with doing the grading instead of having this big monstrosity sticking up out of the ground. The next variance is septic tank and pump chamber invert less than 1 feet to groundwater. The septic tank will have a 0.2-foot variance and the pump chamber a 0.45 feet variance. And that is to adjusted groundwater. So that's not to the actual groundwater that was found on the property. And the pump chamber, I'm sorry, the 0.2 feet for the invert in and 0.45 for the invert out on the single air tank. And then it'll be a 0.5 foot for the pump chamber variance. And the reason that is higher, we're going to come into the outlet end of it. So typically everything's rolling downhill, but on the pump chamber, because it is pumped, we can come up higher onto that. So that's why that's that way. The whole idea is to keep it as high from groundwater as we can. The next one is 33% of the design flow pumped to a septic tank. This is in regards to, which is a variance that I'm going to ask for further down the line. There's 2 buildings on the property. There's 47 and 52. 47 is impossible to build a Title V system on. It's right on the water. So they're asking, it's a 1-bedroom cottage. They're asking to be able to pump it to the septic system on 52 and utilize that system. And that's
You're coming over here, yeah, all right.
Title V and DEP has kind of reversed on doing shared systems. They've actually encouraged them more to do more shared systems because they can do better treatment in better areas. So before DEP didn't like to do shared systems, but you're starting to see them more and more, especially on the developments. You're seeing a lot of these shared systems. And I understand why Harwich has said, you know, we want it part of ours, that no shared system unless we get the variance. But in this particular case, it's actually 100% of the flow from the cottage, but it's 33% of the flow from the whole system if you add it. Title V says 25% flow to be pumped to the septic tank, and they encourage no more than that. So, but it is 100% of that flow. We've also redesigned the tank on that to give a one-day storage above the high water alarm, so that if something were to happen, they have at least one-day storage above that high water alarm, so that they didn't have to add a generator to that system. So,
Do you think, do you think one day is enough?
yes, for a cottage, because they can get a pumper in there. It's a very small pump. They're an off-the-shelf type of a pump. We'll be servicing the system. Literally, we can go in there and change it.
Or, this would be like from a homeowner's perspective. If I had to get a pump, if these people would have to do that at the end of the 24 hours, how do they go about that?
Call a pumper to be an emergency pump.
Who do they call?
Any one of the pumpers, Robert Hour, any one of the pumping companies.
All right, and then, then they would have to tell them, I need this because
Yep.
and they would be able, there's enough people on the Cape that could respond to that.
All of our pump chambers have to have at least one day storage above the high water.
All right,
In the original design, it wasn't, they were doing a much smaller basin, and they were saying a battery backup or a generator. Battery backups are very, when you need them, they tend not to work, just with experience. So we went with a little bit bigger structure that's concrete, and gave it a one-day storage above. It'll actually be a little bit more than one day. Again, the pump is an off-the-shelf type of a pump. And,
does this notify the homeowner?
oh yeah, there's a panel. There'll be a panel there that actually notifies that there's a,
All right, that they would know to do that,
correct.
Yeah, it'll be an alarm, they'll
an
be
alarm system.
connected to an alarm, and
And worst case, they can go across the street. They own both properties. I don't know what they're gonna do with the properties, but
because they don't want it backing up.
yeah, it won't.
All right, so what is your feeling with the fact that they're pumping the whole thing over to,
So I'm okay with it, because it's
it's still under,
still minimal. It's a little over what the requirement is, but just a reminder that that variance has already been approved by this board already. That's not a new variance that's being requested.
We just upgraded it a little bit to give them a little bit more storage and, you know,
Right.
more a little bit of a safety factor. The rest of the variance requests are from the Harwich regs. And the first one is the SAS, will be 85 feet, 7 inches from the wetlands. So there's a 14-foot, 5-inch variance requested. Originally, it was a little bit less than that, but that was to the SAS, but it was not to the foundation that they had originally designed. We stayed in the same footprint. We were able to get enough square foot area by staying in the footprint of the concrete structure. But when they originally did the variance, they were measuring to the inside of where the leaching was, not to where the foundation structure was. So it's basically the same exact variance. But I'm, declaring this is what we are a little bit closer to that. I don't know if that made sense. I probably clouded the water on it.
it kind of does.
Okay, so you have a concrete structure that's we'll say 20 by 20.
All right,
And inside there, they fill it with sand, and then they have the leaching facility that's in there.
okay,
They went from the leaching facility out to the wetlands, which they're allowed to do. But in reality, that whole foundation is actually closer to that wetland. And we're staying within that footprint.
and that was already, that's
That was already approved.
approved. All right,
Also, the leaching that we're doing, the perkrite, and there's an emitter every 2 feet, and the lines are separated every, I think it's 1 foot. I'd have to go back and look at the design. each emitter only does .74 gallons per hour on, as far as gallons that it emits to that. So if that system was running for an hour, each one of those emitters only puts .74 gallons into that area where it's at. Typically, the perkrite only runs for 15 minutes out of 3 hours for residential property. So we get it to spread out, and we get a lot of, it's called a transgas evaporation. So we get some evaporation out, and any of the soil that's above it, any of the, like they're planning on putting grass, which is a great way, they'll uptake any of the nutrients that are in there, so it won't go down through. Like we're asking, we're gonna put it in the A and B layer, which is allowed by their approval. We don't, when systems were designed, everybody wanted to get rid of the effluent as fast as they could. That's detrimental to our nitrogen loading going into our estuaries. That's part of the problem. We want it slowed down, spread out,
So that,
let the grass take it up. The owner's gonna be mad at me because he's gonna have to mow it more.
The grass is gonna grow good over the system.
Yeah, it tends to do that. They've been around for a while. They work really well. They use them down in Florida where they have 2 feet to groundwater. And they do pretty good. We don't have any problems with freezing. The company that does do it, which is Oakson, is a Class Act company. They're very strict in how they put everything in, and they watch everything. So we haven't had any problems with it. So as far as distance to wetland, using the SAS that we're proposing to use actually is better than what was proposed before, as far as the wetlands are concerned.
and what's your take on this?
I agree with what
What he's saying?
Winston has outlined, yeah.
It's
I
making
mean,
sense.
You're kind of getting double treatment because you're getting the single layer treatment, and then you're getting the treatment from the slow distribution of
Slow
the effluent.
distribution, yeah, all right.
Because and it does have a control, so you're not getting effluent that's gonna inundate the system either. So if there were, something to happen with breakout, it's gonna be on a minimal
Yeah.
level versus
Yeah.
something that is gonna be a lot higher if you have these concrete chambers, so.
All
The
right.
second one for the Harwich is building sewer less than 50 feet from the wetland. We're asking for a 40-foot variance requested, and that is from the building 47, I think it is.
Mhm.
Yep, building 47. It's close to the wetlands.
Mhm.
We could never get a Title V there.
Yeah, you're never getting anything without giving them some kind of relief from that variance. I think there was a tight tank that was proposed, which is, this at least you're taking everything and you're pumping it over to the other side of the street, so.
And then the last one is the sharing of the sewage system. So we'd be 330 gallons per day. The number 52 is a 2-bedroom deeded, and 47 is a 1-bedroom. And they're both deeded.
That's the opposite that we're reading.
I'm sorry, number 47,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
47's a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Just for
Yeah.
clarity. That's all.
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
That's good pick, good pick.
Um,
Okay.
I think that was, and then we would, in the other variants, and I failed to put this in, but we would go with the same conditions that you had originally approved, which is, the only other thing that we're asking not to do is the pump chamber having a battery back in installation. That's why we went with a bigger
If
tank.
they resubmit this? Did
Nope.
the-
No, I think that was that part of the condition?
The original one,
Okay.
Oh, that was part of the, all
So
right.
you're gonna approve this and set new conditions, so those previous conditions if, and I think what we added was monolithic and watertight, because that's more
Yeah.
important than,
yep, it will be, all the structures are monolithic.
yep.
So then you're looking, all right, I'm, where it says the applicant seeks the following variances. These,
Yep. So
Without-
under current conditions, current proposal, these are the variants that are being requested, and it seems like more than the history, because I separated them all. So you had approved, it looks like less in the the history, but I just separated it so it was less confusing.
We did get rid of one variance, and that was to the reduction of the
Yeah.
leaching size. We're going full of what it's required
All right.
So
with the leaching.
So,
approve it, and then if you were to approve it, you can, option 2 is the approval. You can add anything to that you want. It doesn't look like in that approval, the one that the condition you're looking to be removed is not in there, so.
Right.
all right.
I think it doesn't matter,
Can we approve, if we go to approve this, can we just say with the variances must be, read each one out?
yep, you're gonna read each condition out.
One?
You're gonna read each condition out.
All right, and that's this.
Yep, that's 1 through 7.
Oh, down here.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
But we don't have to list
Nope,
it.
you don't have to list that.
All right, does anybody? It's complicated.
I'm
It's
sorry.
It's been a complicated one tonight.
Yes.
It has. In the big scheme of things, I think it's much better than doing a concrete structure. You know, we're talking at least, 4 cement mixers, going in that at various times, plus excavation out and excavation back in. It was a lot of trucks,
And they're limited on where they can site the system.
Yes.
I mean, that's the other thing. They're getting it as far away from, they got wetlands on both sides, so.
Any, Kevin? Any-
Yeah, I would like just to, since the sizes of these two dwellings and 47 being the one closer to the wetlands, I would like to make a slight addendum to condition number 1. I know the dwelling respected to a maximum of 3 bedrooms, but it's really, if my understanding, 2 separate dwellings.
Yep.
Yes.
So I want to specify that, but I'll go ahead. I move to approve the variance request for 47 and 52 North Road with the following conditions. 1, the dwelling at 47 North Road is restricted to 1 bedroom, and the dwelling at 52 North Road is restricted to 2 bedrooms. 2, no further increase in habitable space or square footage to either dwelling without further review by the Board of Health. 3, no garbage disposal is allowed. 4, a monolithic and watertight septic tank pump chamber shall be required. 5, IA technology is required. 6, a signed operation and maintenance agreement for the alternative system shall be submitted to the Health Department prior to the release of the disposal system construction permit. The O&M agreement for the alternative system shall include a requirement for testing. This testing shall be conducted in accordance with the Board of Health protocol. And lastly, the conditions and approval shall be recorded at the Barnstable Registry of Deeds.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Okay.
Kevin?
Kevin?
Aye?
Janet?
Janet?
Aye. Sharon? Aye.
Ron? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great night and a happy holiday.
Thanks, you too. Once-
Stuff all over the place now.
Yeah. Now you can go back to minutes.
It's been a lot.
Back to the minutes?
You can go back to the minutes.
Okay,
I can't even find my,
okay.
Been a lot.
Minutes of the previous meeting, October 21st, 2025, and November 18th.
I didn't have any,
Any changes or modifications?
no, I didn't.
No, I didn't either.
Kevin?
I don't have anything to change.
Okay, vote?
Motion?
Motion to accept the minutes from the October 21st, 2025 Board of Health meeting,
And November?
And November 18th.
November 18th. Oh, we're doing the both, okay.
Seconded? Roll call vote?
Seconded.
Call vote. Kevin?
Kevin? Aye?
Janet?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Ron? Aye.
Okay.
Very good. All right. So now we go to the,
Here's my agenda.
okay. modifications to the 2026 Board of Health meeting schedule, January 20th, 2026, and February 17th, 2026 meeting to be held in the small hearing room.
I lost it.
So we moved the Thursday meetings to Tuesday dates. We just have to meet in the small hearing room. And then we made a modification to the June appointment and filing deadline. So if nobody sees any issue with the proposed, I know we can't always predict the future and what's going to happen on any given Tuesday, but
Yes.
Yeah. Report of the health director?
so we did miss the fee schedule too from new business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So the fee schedule, there was a fee that was not on the one that you approved. That is a normal fee for us, and that did not change, so we need a motion to accept the new fee schedule.
Motion to accept the new fee schedule. Kevin?
Second, I'll second the motion.
Seconded.
Okay,
And if you're looking to me for a vote, aye.
roll call vote, Kevin?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Brian, aye.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now we have the report of the health director.
So, happy holidays, everybody. The select board voted to close all non-essential departments for December 24th and December 31st to close at noon, and close all day on December 26th and December 22nd. So health department and all town offices will be closed during those times. So don't look for your pumping records on that date. And then just a reminder, the town mandated emails, you gotta set up a time with the town clerk's office to register your new email. I will also be drafting an automatic response that everybody can put to their email, so they know that if they want a town records request, they have to contact the town clerk. If they need an as-built, they can contact the health department. You can't talk about anything, any agenda items that are on the agenda. They can attend public meetings. So next month, I was going to put together a draft of what that automatic response would look like, and if you wanted to modify it or just accept it and use it. That way, there's some consistency in the messaging, so all the board members are sending the same message.
Okay, can there be any explanation to the public as to, by sending it to all of us, that isn't gonna work?
Yeah, so we're gonna put something together, and if there's anything you wanna add to it, the board can discuss how they want that message to read. But I
Yeah.
figured we would handle the concerns about records requests, whether they need to go through the town clerk or simple things that we can do in our department. Let the public know that your emails aren't monitored frequently, so if they're looking for immediate response, to contact the health department. Let them know that if they're reaching out regarding any agenda item things, that you have to be conscious of open meeting law violations, and that full discussions may not be had, but encourage you to come out to the meetings.
Yeah.
And
That we're not gonna answer them.
right. And if you want the information in the packet for all board members, it should go through the health department channel, so it can be distributed appropriately.
And then we can put that on your website as well.
You can put it on the website
Yeah.
as well, yep.
All right.
I'm getting some emails from people already on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how because right now your emails aren't public,
Well,
so
for
unless
some
they were
reason-
shared
For
through the
some reason,
grapevine.
I'm getting them on my private.
On the private email.
So, and it is pretty easy for people to share information or ask, so if they know somebody, or if you have people who are sharing the email. And I think that's part of the intent of this, is to limit your private email from being contacted and give the residents a mechanism to contact you.
Rather than
But-
private, yeah.
I've been
Oh.
negligent, I haven't even done it yet, I've just been like crazy.
So you'll have to get a hold of Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with you.
And if you need any hand holding, I'm happy to come down and,
Yes, I saw that,
Yeah.
yeah.
but,
It's been so.
Harry, I didn't attend any of the meetings for that, but I did set it up with somebody over the phone, so I'm all set.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you, Kevin.
yeah. So we'll just get that language together. I know there were some concerns about, the expectation from the residents and what the turnaround time they look at for feedback and the things that you can comment on and the things that you can't comment.
Just so that they don't start, sending all these emails out and then we can't comment on it. I mean, what we can do is come out, we can't comment, but that's going to be, I just think giving the town people a heads up as to if you're going to do that, you're not going to get a response.
Right. And an expectation from a volunteer position to have an immediate response, I don't think is a reasonable one.
Yeah.
I think being acknowledged is one thing, and if that automatic response is on there, it's gonna at least make them feel acknowledged that, we understand that you're trying to reach us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And then
I
we can
agree.
help you to set up your automatic response too, so.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I was surprised, I said,
Yeah.
all right. Next is, adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn?
Oh, the permits,
Oh, the permits.
Yep.
I thought we did those.
permits,
Two licenses,
we
Oh,
got,
Okay.
okay?
We did the fee schedule, Sharon.
yep, fee schedule and the meeting.
Yeah, we did the,
Calendar.
yeah, we did that.
Yep.
All right, so now you're,
We got Giovanni's permits for all the new
As printed.
as printed.
I second it.
So, are we approved that?
Yes.
Okay. So motion to approve,
Second.
seconded,
Second.
and then Ron's gonna do a roll call vote.
Roll call. Kevin?
Aye?
Janet?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Ron? Aye.
Okay.
Vote to adjourn.
Second.
Kevin?
Yep.
Aye?
Aye.
Janet?
Sharon?
Aye.
Ron? Aye.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna leave these here.